Good afternoon. How is everybody doing? For those of you who may not know me, my name is Renarda Joy, and I have committed for 30 days to give you tools, tips, and insight for those of you who are new to real estate investing. Now, my mission is to shrink the intergenerational wealth gap through real estate investing, and I have been using this platform to sound the alarm. Now, if you're just joining us, we are on day 21. Yes, I can't believe it, but we are on day 21. And I want to personally invite you to go back and listen to any of our previous conversations. And if you've gotten any value or if you have any questions, please feel free to leave it in the comments. Now, like my grandmother would say, if you are here, I want to know who you are. What's your name? Where are you from? And what information have you gotten from the last couple of weeks? For those of you who have been repeatedly here with me each and every day, I want to know what information have you gotten to build up your real estate arsenal. Now, today's conversation is just a continuous from yesterday. Yesterday, we talked about the buying strategy, fix and flip. We created a checklist that we started, and today I just want to add to that list. But yesterday we talked about you have to know your budget, right? You have to be able to know what can you afford. You have to do your due diligence. You cannot do this alone, especially if you're a new investor. It doesn't hurt to have a seasoned investor to partner with you to do this first fix and flip with, right? You also have to know that it's a numbers game. Yes, you're going to go through a lot of deals, a lot of offers you're going to be putting in. And finally, we talked about your finances. Because this is a short-term project, your interest rates are going to be high. But again, I invite you to go back and listen to yesterday's conversation. So today, what I want to add is next, home inspection. In today's climate, you hear a lot of people say, waive the home inspection, but I don't suggest that. I don't suggest that, especially for a new real estate investor. It's important for you to know what's going on. You're not trained. You don't know what to look for. And what's going to happen is you're going to get a report and you're going to sit with your contractor. And at this point, you should have already vetted out your contractor, checked out their references to make sure that they're a good fit. The contractor will go through the report and let you know what needs to be changed and what value he or she can add to the project. Then at that point, you can decide, do you want to undergo this project or do you want to go back and negotiate? Yes. I know that you've already gotten your offer accepted, but that does not mean that you can no longer negotiate. Go back if you have to, because now new information has been discovered. Hey, Rosalind. Now, also, you can decide to walk away. You do not have to take the deal because it looked like it was going to be a good deal, but now you have termites. And maybe the termites or the electrical is going to cost you more than what you budgeted for. Walk away. There's always going to be a deal, right? Then you have to decide if this job requires permit pulling, make sure you pull the permit, because if you don't and the city comes out, then it's going to be hard for you to get the permit because they're going to feel some kind of way. So make sure you don't do that. Next, make sure that when it's time to do renovation, make sure that you, first let's talk about prepping the property. How do you prep it? Make sure you get the utilities turned on, right? The lights, the gas, the water, because your contractor will need that and from all of that stuff pulled together and turned on. But remember, I told you, be very meticulous. Why do I say that? Because you're going to need to make sure that you turn off all of these utilities once you're ready to sell the property. So keep that in mind. Next, you need to decide, are you going to get a project manager or a bookkeeper? Now, either one is fine, but make sure you're still in the loop. Just don't turn over the project where it's out of sight, out of mind. You need to stay involved because guess what? You're still on the hook. So keep that in mind. Now it's time to renovate, right? You want to make sure that your contractor has access to subcontractors. You're going to need a plumber, electrician, or carpenter. You want to make sure that they have access to all of the various contractors that you will need. And make sure that even if you're signing this off to a project manager to oversee the site, make sure again that you're still involved. You want to look at the scope of work against the time frame, because remember, any day outside of the projected time is eating away your profit. So you want to make sure that everything stays on track. So you need to make sure that you stay involved with that. Now it's time to sell the property. What do you have to do? You have to decide, are you going to do a FSBO, which is for sale by owner, or are you going to get an agent? Now, an agent will streamline the process. They will go through the paperwork, they will schedule the property. Yes, they will charge you. Typically, it's 3% commission, which is 3% of the purchase price. Now, if you do this on your own, for sale by owner, which is what it stands for, then you're going to have to do all of that. You're going to have to do the paperwork, schedule everything, present the offers, everything. Well, you're going to be presenting the offer to yourself. But again, if you don't know what you're doing, if this is not your wheelhouse, it may be worth you actually getting an agent to do this for you, or work maybe with a seasoned investor. Remember, we talked about it in our last conversation. Don't go this alone. So maybe the seasoned investor understands the whole process and they can help you in that area. Again, know all of your options. Next, decide if you're going to stage the property. In certain markets, it doesn't make sense to stage it because as soon as it's on the market, the houses are already under contract. But again, that depends on what market you're in. So let's say you're in a market that's not as hot, but you've done your due diligence, so you're going to be able to sell this property. Well, then you might need to stage this property because a lot of buyers, believe it or not, they're visually stimulated. They're not able to see, how their things would actually be in the space. So sometimes you kind of have to help them along. And this is not an expensive project to do, a service to do. I meant to say staging service is not that expensive, and it's worth it. It can add extra value to the property and getting you more bangs for your bucks. The last thing, it doesn't matter if you're going to do a FSBO or if you're going to get an agent, have professional pictures. That's where you're going to get the biggest exposure from. Your pictures are going to be online, so you want to make sure that they're very professional. Now it's time to review offers. You're in the driver's seat. You're going to get a lot of offers, right? That's the goal. You did this because you want to be able to sell this property. Now, when you get these offers, make sure you have a couple of things that you're looking for. Are they giving you the price that you want? And are they able to close in the time frame that you projected? Because remember, the longer you keep this property that's outside of your projected time frame, the more you're eating into your profit. So you don't want that. So those are some factors that you should consider when you're looking at your offers. And you don't have to decide on every offer, right? You can decide rather if you want to negotiate, pass on, or move forward. But if you decide on the best offer, make sure that you're getting proof of funds and or a pre-approval. The last thing you want is for somebody to say the right things, but then they're not in a position to actually pull the trigger. So I hope that this has been helpful. I mean, fix and flip can be laborious. It can also be rewarding. And as you can hear, it can be profitable. Once you do it, usually you get the itch to want to do it over and over again. It can be very fun and addictive. So I hope that this has been helpful. I hope that you've gotten value from this checklist. If you need any clarification or if you have any questions, please feel free to leave it in the comments. I promise I will respond. Now, if you're watching this outside of my business Facebook page, I invite you to come back and join at renardajoylive.com. That's renardajoylive.com. Now, I don't want you to join for the likes. I want you to join so that you can spread the word. Tell other investors, other new investors that may need the same tips and tools that you've been getting. Remember, my goal is to create informed investors, what I call a legacy setter. So I hope that this has been helpful. And if you're just joining the conversation, we are wrapping up day 21. I invite you to go back, listen to this conversation and any other conversations that you've missed. And if you've gotten any value or if you have any questions, please feel free to leave it in the comments. I will see you guys tomorrow, same time, 6 p.m. EST. Have a good night.